There's a lot of interest today in green production and green energy. This is partly because of the impact that climate change has had on our planet. Now, there's an entrepreneur who has already seen an opportunity here, and they've seized it. Here's the story.
I was a teacher. During COVID, when I was at home, and I wanted, like, you know the situation, what happened, so I wanted to do something of my own. So I saw there was this gap of cooking fuel, and I took interest in it. So as I was moving in the village, I found ladies were molding charcoal dust, making briquettes that they used to enhance their cooking fuel. So I also came back and did them. Yeah, when I did them, I realized they were not working very well. So I took interest and kept on adding. So initially, the balls I made were made of charcoal dust and cassava flour. So they worked, but they didn't work very well. So now it kept on triggering my mind. I went into research using my phone, my smartphone. I kept on researching. So I found out that we could use a machine. But then, unfortunately, I didn't have money because you know the situation, what was happening. So again, I looked out for a PVC pipe, and I started molding. Now the difference was the other one didn't have shape. Now the PVC pipe made me produce briquettes that had shape, which were good looking, and they could, you know. So I sold quite a bit to my neighbors. They were like, they are good, but then they cannot cook independently. Maybe they can be used for steaming, but they can't. So again, it was again a question that triggered my mind. Can I make something that can cook independently? Yeah, so I dipped again into research, and then found out that developed countries were making briquettes. Yeah, so the question was, where was I going to begin from? Because I didn't have money. I got a chance. I saw a proposal call for post-COVID recovery. I decided to go into it, failed, and in my proposal I was targeting 50 women in our village. So I sold to them the briquette business. They bought the idea, gave me some facilitation. I bought machines. I first bought one machine and then started working. So after buying that machine, it kept on triggering me. Like, we could make briquettes today. After, when they are dry, you sell, and then the customers were like, give us more, because I didn't have, a lot of expertise. So it would trigger me again to go into research. So initially, my first year was into research based. One of the stories that kept on inspiring me to move on was of a school which said that it used to use 12 trucks of firewood, but I had given them 250 briquettes. The school had reduced to 5 trucks of firewood. So I saw myself impacting the community directly, and since then, I no longer want to go back. One of the principles, first, I'm into my business. It's not that because I'm a lady, because I have to polish my nails, I'm into my business directly, every day. I'm the one who carbonizes rubbish. We didn't talk about that, but our briquettes, we make them out of rubbish. But because of little space here, like you can see, for us, we carbonize sawdust. Secondly, quality of the materials. I go directly into the field and look for the materials. Our target market, basically, we supply these people who cook a lot. Yes, we have a commercial briquette, which we supply to hotels. Yes, and it lights for 8 hours to 10. That one, it is commercial. It is a commercial briquette. We give it out to schools and restaurants, and again to people who are into poultry, into chicken brooding. The briquette business has been so interesting. I've achieved a lot in case which I never dreamed even of having as I was teaching. So on an estimation, last year I made a profit of 20 millions. From here, from a 5 meter to 15 meter, I was able to make 20 millions.
Now, on this show, we are dedicated to helping you or sharing with you tips on how you can make money, but most importantly, grow it and then keeping it. Now, in this segment again, we share some thoughts on how you can do this.
So the state of currencies, mostly let me give an example, that dollar has been on the depreciative trend since the Bank of Uganda was issuing of government bonds last week, but now the dollar is starting to appreciate against the Uganda shillings recently, coming from a low last week, going up as of today. So the projections of the Uganda shillings against the US dollar are good and are going to remain stable within the required range for this period of time. The shilling is facing different pressures from inflation to monetary policy, like interest rates and also issuance of government bonds, and also import and export industry. So those three are the main factors that influence, and that they're the main pressures on the Uganda shillings. But we expect the Uganda shillings to remain relatively stable in the course of time, because the government of Uganda is working hard to make sure the industry is stable, to allow and facilitate international trade, because most of the goods we import them using foreign currencies.
Now, if you're a business operator and you've installed a system, the question to ask is, when did you last update it? Because that is the loophole that cyber attackers are going to exploit to compromise your system, as this expert shares.
One of our key products that we put out there, which is a key innovation, is mainly made to support groups. These groups are savings groups, circles, investment clubs, and what we've noticed actually in the country, almost 20% of these groups are not financially included, and one of the hindrances or one of the key issues why they are not financially included is access to digital platforms that can support their operations. So most of these institutions or groups do offer financial services to their members, but at a more informal level in terms of how they operate. Some of them are still on the traditional way of banking within their circles. Others have progressed and are using systems. But what you realize for those that have systems, most of them are outdated. And these systems pose a lot of security issues to the privacy of data for the people that are using these systems, but also to the integrity of the transactions that are done through these systems. The main concern on our side is sustainability and economic growth and financial inclusion, and also security. So those are the key pillars onto which we ride when we are building our systems. We take security to be one of our elements when it comes to financial services. Anything to do with a digital platform and it's supposed to go over the internet, a provider has to be concerned about security. And some of the key areas that I need to highlight out on security: one, there are cyber attacks. And these are happening not just for small systems, but even big entities are facing cyber attacks. And some of the things that come under cyber attacks are phishing. Phishing is one of the key things. You have malware. You have denial of services, which is very common. Your site is completely taken over and your customers can no longer access services. So some of these are very key for players that are providing these systems to be very concerned, because it requires for them to update their systems on a regular basis. just to be able to watch out for some of these cyber attacks. So when we talk about financial services and the channels, we are looking at elements of how do you manage customer data when it's being captured into the system, how do you manage transactions that come through the system, how do you manage different operation activities within the platform, that is to do the lending, to do the savings, to do the shares that are usually captured by the members, and other elements within the operations of some of these institutions like asset management, like accounting packages that are supposed to simplify the way circles or groups or microfinance institutions actually do report to their regulators. So all these things, and also the touch points to do with channels of mobile banking, internet banking, how do we support an element of extension of agents banking, probably using POS machines. We're using the latest technologies, which is one of the challenges that the systems on the market are having, more of legacy. So we embed artificial intelligence. These are supporting with analytics of customer data, so that this can also enable our customers make informed decisions from the data that they are collecting from their members. So where they should get a consultant, the system actually becomes their first go-to solution before they can get a consultant to advise them. The system is already giving them intelligence on how they should be able to manage their operations, whether they need to be able to look at how to improve sales. The system does that for them.
Now, with that, we've come to the end of this week's edition of Money and Market. Thank you for being part of the show. Now, from me and team, we'd like to wish you a very good evening and to remind you to always engage us and follow us on our digital platforms for these and more stories. Now, from me and team, once again, good evening and God bless.